Morning students, and welcome to yet another class of fungi or mycology. Here in today's class we deal about a type known as Rhizopus. Rhizopus is a common fungi coming under the class Zygomycota, order Mucorales, family Mucoraceae. Now it contains various genus like Rhizopus, Mucor, etc. and it is a common fungi because we often see this fungi on the contaminated food materials, for example bread, and it is otherwise known as black moles. So it is a large portion of this fungi, the picture. Now, the habitat, as I had already mentioned, it appears readily in damp horse dung when kept under a bell jar, or it may be present in soil, bread and other food materials. So, it is a common feature which we often come across in our kitchen. Okay. Besides this, they are found on soil also. Now, moving to vegetative structure, the fungi as it contains the hyphae. From the hyphae, aggregated mass of hyphae will form the mycelium. And from the mycelium arise the asexual reproductive structure as well as the sexual reproductive structure. Now, regarding the vegetative structure, the hyphae will give rise to mycelium, and this mycelium consists of numerous slender, freely branched filaments called hyphae. That is, hyphae is the first form of structure from the spore. Okay, and this hyphae is numerous and slender and highly branched. And this highly branched structure of hyphae is known as the mycelium. And this mycelium, it is mainly white in color. And after the mycelium formation, it produces the reproductive phase. Now, the black pin-like structure appear on the mycelium is called the sporangium. And the hyphae are cenocytic and aseptate. Cenocytic means normally the hyphae will be septate. Okay, and each cell will be containing a single nucleus. But in case of cenocytic condition, the hyphae are aseptate, or there will not be a cross wall bit, and it will appear as a single cell or unicellular and contain and it is multinucleate. Such a condition is known as the cenocytic, that is unicellular condition with the multinucleus. And aseptate means without septa or a cross wall. So the hyphae are cenocytic and aseptate. And at the vegetative stage, the hyphae consists of stolon or the horizontal hyphae, and the rhizoidal hyphae helps in absorption of the nutrients from the substrate. And the cell wall is made up of chitin and cellulose is absent. And cell organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, etc. are present in the cell. So then vegetative cell consists of mainly the horizontal hyphae as well as the rhizoidal hyphae. In this picture, this is the rhizoidal hyphae, and this rhizoidal hyphae mainly helps in the absorption of the nutrients from the substrate. And this portion is the horizontal hyphae or the stolon portion. Okay, this is the stolon portion. This is the the rhizoidal hyphae, and this rhizoidal hyphae are highly branched. And the cell wall of the, I had already mentioned that hyphae is cenocytic and aseptate in condition, and the cell wall is made up of chitin, and the cell organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, etc. are present in the cell. Okay, and from this hyphae arise the asexual reproductive structure, that is the sporangium. So this is the vegetative structure. I had already mentioned that the cell is cenocytic in condition It contains numerous nuclei, or it is multinucleate and unicellular in structure, and it contains dense cells organelles like ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, nucleus, etc. And the cell wall is made up of chitin. Now, vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is by means of fragmentation, chlamydosspore formation, etc. Fragmentation means whenever a hyphae get broken off due to any reason, from the broken part it will give rise to another hyphae and aggregate mass of mycelium. So when the separation of the hyphae occur from the aerial portion, then these fragments are capable of producing new hyphae, and this is called fragmentation. Next one is chlamydosspore formation. That is, under unfavorable conditions, the fungus produce special modified thick-walled resting cells called as chlamydospores. And they contain food and are very resistant to desiccation. And when conditions become favorable, it germinates to form new mycelium. So chlamydospores are actually resting spores, and they are formed when the unfavorable condition approach. And this resting spores, they stores the food materials in order to resist the unfavorable conditions. And whenever the favorable conditions reappear, they will germinate to form the new mycelium. So these are the resting spores formed on the hyphae which store the food materials. After the unfavorable condition, they become germinate into hyphae. Moving to asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is mainly by means of sporangia and a sporangiospore. So sporangiospores are formed on the sporangio. Okay, now it takes place by the formation of non-motile multinucleate sporangiophore. The sporangia arise singly and terminally at the tips of sporangiophore. The young sporangium is white spherical structure, and at maturity it turns into black color due to the formation of spores. In the center of the spore there is a large dome shaped structure called columella. The sporangia are haploid. They are produced in the haploid mycelium and produce haploid spores. So in black, that is mainly on bread surface, you can see a structure like this under the microscope. So this is the hyphae, as I have already mentioned. It consists of rhizoidal hyphae and the stolon or the horizontal hyphae. So from the structure arise another structure known as the sporangiophores. Sporangiophore, that is the aerial hyphae. Aerial hyphae or sporangiophore will arise from this rhizoidal hyphae. From this, at the tip of the or the apical region, sporangiophores are produced. Okay. And their sporangiospores are produced in a specialized structure known as the sporangium. And young sporangium is usually white spherical structure. And at maturity, this white color turns to black. That is why Rhizopus is often known as black moles. Okay, and at the center of the spore, there is a dome-shaped structure. This is the dome-shaped structure known as the columella. And the sporangium contains haploid spores, and they are known as the sporangiospores. Okay, simply spore or sporangiospores are produced on the sporangium, which is a spherical structure, and the sporangiospores are haploid in nature, and the sporangium are produced on the aerial hyphae or sporangiophore. Okay, sporangiospores and sporangiophore are entirely different. Sporangiophore is the aerial hyphae upon which sporangium is produced, and sporangiospores are the asexual reproductive spores which are haploid in nature, produced by the Rhizopus. Okay. Now, the spores are dispersed after rupturing of the sporangia. They are dispersed by the wind. The spore is non-motile, oval and contains protoplast surrounded by single layered cell wall. Under suitable condition, the spore germinates to form a germ tube and the hyphae arises from the germination tube and spread in all directions. So at maturity, the sporangium wall will dissolve and the sporangiospores are liberated and disseminated by wind. And the spore is non-motile and oval and it is single layered cell wall. Okay. Now, moving to sexual reproduction. The type of sexual reproduction seen in Rhizopus is gametangial copulation. Here, two types of gametes will be there. That is, hyphae will be acting as one will be positive type and the other will be negative type. That is, one will be acting as the male hyphae and the other will be acting as the female hyphae. At the time of reproduction, both the hyphae will come close to each other and at the point and they will bulge towards each other and they act as the progametangia. And at the time of fertilization, the tip of it get converted into gametangia and the region just beneath this gametangial region is known as the suspensor. Okay. Now, the fertilization takes place by the fusion of the two gametangia and it results in the formation of zygospore. So, this is about the sexual reproduction. That is, it takes place by gametangial copulation. The fusion gametes are multinucleated and are distinct from each other. The sexual process starts with the formation of two special hyphae called zygospores. They arise from near the apices of actively growing somatic hyphae of positive and negative strains. They are chemically induced. The zygospore meet and adheres in pairs at the tip to form fusion septum. The tip swells due to flow of nuclei and cytoplasm in them called as progametangia, and the progametangia combine to form prozygosporangium containing many diploid nuclei called zygospore. So, the progametangia are formed at the time of fertilization. From the cytoplasm and nucleus will move towards the wall of it and they become bulge and act as progametangia, which will be converted into gametangia by a septa formation, and the region just beneath the gametangia, which is devoid of the cytoplasm is known and nuclei, is known as the suspensor, and the fusion of the gametangia result in the formation of zygospore. So this is the life cycle of Rhizopus, that is the vegetative mycelium are formed. The vegetative mycelium contain both prostrate hyphae and rhizoidal hyphae, and from this arise the asexual reproductive structure known as the sporangiospores, which are born on sporangiophore. And when it enter into the sexual reproduction, it produces two types of gametangia, that is plus and minus strain of hyphae produce progametangia. It will fuse and progametangia is converted into gametangia and it contains numerous nuclei and they will fuse and result in the formation of zygospore or the simply zygote. And this zygospore germinate and give rise to germ sporangium. Okay, at this time the reduction, it is diploid in nature because of the fusion of the both nucleus in the plus and minus strain. Okay, plus and minus strain are haploid in nature. They fuse resulting in the formation of diploid zygospore and they give rise to diploid zygospore, and the nucleus in the diploid zygospore undergo reduction division and result in the formation of haploid spore known as meiospores. And this haploid meiospores undergo repeated division and result in the formation of numerous meiospore, and this meiospore on germination give rise to vegetative mycelium. And in this way the life cycle repeats with asexual reproduction on one side and sexual reproduction on other side, and sometimes the vegetative reproduction by means of fragmentation and climatospores. So this is about Rhizopus.